like the good old days of Persona. Nothing more than a simple transmission glitch, but how are you all today? I hope you are well, I hope you are hype, and I hope that you are at least mildly excited for today. For today, we will be returning into the wonderful world of SCPs. So how are you all? It's 1 a.m. For us, it's 12 a.m. Yes, it is rather late. I meant to be on an hour earlier, but zombies had some pressing matters with a certain Pokemon game. Apparently something that has been wrong is now fixed. So, we got kind of excited for him. He's been jumping up and down and bounding around. Perhaps time doesn't work the same. No, time never works the same here as it does there. But that's neither here nor there. But yes, I hope that you all are well and well rested. And no, zombies is not locked in a closet. We lock him in the bathroom. No need for a mess. But how are you all today? I hope that you are well and ready to be in lack of sleep. Yes, I do have some decency. Just a little, not a lot, but enough, you know. But yes. Let's move a couple of things over here. There we go, there we go. Wibbly wobbly tails are always a good thing. But yes, are you excited to hear some more spooky stories, scary tales, and other weird anomalies involving the SCP Foundation? We have quite a few good ones for you today, including one that should touch rather close to zombies' heart, given the current Pokemon situation. It should be quite interesting. But bigger question is, can you hear me properly? Is everything working alright? Is there anything that's too loud that needs to be turned down? Is there anything that needs to be turned up? What do we have today? And have you all gotten your coffee? Has anybody brought me any tuna? I would so much enjoy some tuna, but of course nobody wants to give me a grand offering. And while I'm waiting for your grand offerings, I shall check and see who all is here today. We have Coffee Joy. We have DDD Delightful. We have the one and only Zombie. Oh, be sure to check on Zombie in the bathroom every once in a while. We have Chaos Demonic Soul Reaper. How have you been? We have Wesley Sam Advance. And we have MT. How are you? As well as Faithful Souls. And we have Angie. Angie's got tuna for me. Angie, aren't you quite the delight? Thank you. See, somebody knows how to treat a cat right. And yes, to anybody who was wanting to post suggestions, I will be posting another thread again at the start of the week, aka tomorrow, for anybody wanting to post suggestions to SCPs. We'll be putting so on Twitter, as well as you can always find me in the lovely cafe sitting in the research center. Always willing to look up what y'all have for us today. Every single SCP on the list today was actually suggested to us from all of you lovely viewers. So we'll be going through each one of those today. We have 6 grand tales for you today. I don't know how long the stream will be. It kind of depends on how long it takes us to read through all of them, but it should be fun. So how long until we can release Zombie from confinement tonight? Once I'm done reading my research files, you can have at 'em all you want. Without spoiling this game, is good luck with the SCPs. Oh, see, we're not doing a game today. We're actually reading SCP files for you all. We are doing research for all of you lovely people. And you said it could be a little bit louder? One moment. Sorry, I'm quite the soft-spoken cat. I don't really speak all that loud. The SCP Foundation cannot catch me. They need me out and about. How can I spread the possible misdirection if I'm locked up? Doesn't make much sense now, does it? Actually, with error code 999, it doesn't seem to be that there were any bad Pokemon. Zombie was going on and on and on today about the fact that with error code 999, he actually managed to have all of his Pokemon transferred into Pokemon Bank without any problems and without fail. Everything went over today smooth and fine. He's very happy. That's why I don't think he minds being stuck in the bathroom today. He gets to sit there and organize all of his little Pokemon. All of his little critters will be fine. And on and on and on. Ah, yes, he was quite exhilarated. It gets kind of tiring hearing him go on and on, but at least he's happy. And hello, Brian. How are you, my friend? I hope you are well. We actually have a couple of the SCPs that you suggested on the list tonight. But since someone brought up SCP, since someone brought up error code 999, how about we check out SCP-999? Have ourselves a little bit of happiness. But before we have the happiness, let's go on with a little bit of despair. Let us go on with SCP-682. Boom. And then afterward we will discuss SCP-999 in celebration of the fact that the error has now finally been fixed. We actually already have our list preset for the night. Anytime that you want to see the list, you can always check into the description down below and you'll see what will be discussed at some point in time tonight. Now, as far as suggesting other SCPs, you can always join the Discord and put them in my suggestion box, or you can always suggest them to Zombies on Twitter, and he will be more than happy to look into them. And if I deem them acceptable, I will read them for you out loud on the following SCP event. But yes, let us discuss this gruesome creature tonight. He's one of my absolute favorites. He's let's say he's not the friendliest alligator in the bunch, but he's definitely a fun one. Yes, SCP-682. AKA the really hard to kill or really indestructible alligator. Item number SCP-682, Object Class, Keter. Already starting off to quite the blast. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-682 must be destroyed as soon as possible. At this time, no means available to SCP teams are capable of destroying SCP-682, only able to cause massive physical damage. SCP-682 should be contained within a 5 by 5 by 5 millimeter chamber with 25 centimeter reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining on all inside surfaces. The containment chamber should be filled with hydrochloric acid until SCP-682 is submerged and incapacitated. Any attempts of SCP-682 to move, speak, or breach containment should be reacted to quickly and with full force as called for by the circumstances. Why, hello there, Hiei. How are you? And hello, Dark Gray. Welcome. Personnel are forbidden to speak to SCP-682. For fear of provoking a rage state, all unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate with SCP-682 will be restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and high threat of Foundation exposure, SCP-682 is to be contained in Site Redacted. We can't know the site. Why wouldn't you tell us? And I hope you're well, Hiei. How have you been? I hear that you treat Zombie and Zombie quite nicely. Thank you for all of your kindness and all of the help that you provide. You help keep me in mighty fine tuna, so I appreciate as well. Wait, okay. There we go. Had to dig up a thing. Excuse me. Anyway, Personnel are forbidden to speak to SCP-682 for fear of provoking a rage state. All unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate with SCP-682 will be restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment incapacitation, and high threat to Foundation exposure, SCP-682 is to be contained in Site Redacted. Again, still mad they won't tell me where this is. The Foundation will use the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. Description: SCP-682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with SCP-079. Which, for anyone who doesn't know exactly what SCP-079 is, we will save that data for later. During their limited time of exposure, SCP-682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. That is quite spoopy indeed. I mean, look at him. He's on the screen there. He is quite a spoopy lizard. If SCP were real, we'd all probably be dead. You can barely hear me. Do I need to turn my volume up? One moment here. Let us see what we can do for you today. Okay, now how's that? That should be better. Let's see. The teddy bear SCP will be one we eventually cover, so don't worry. SCP-682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. See Addendum 682-B. We'll get to that in a moment. SCP-682 has always been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. SCP-682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or sheds material. SCP-682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or otherwise. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of SCP-682's nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. 682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and SCP-682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted away. In case of containment breach, SCP-682 is to be tracked and recaptured by all available mobile task forces, and no teams with fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage it. To date, information redacted, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, while successful breaches have numbered at 6. See Addendum 682-D. We'll be getting into that one in a moment as well. We actually have an audio file. Interesting. Let me see something here before we go into said audio file. We have the transcript. To avoid any other kind of issues, and because we don't want to be inflicting upon us the painfulness of copyright claims, we'll be reading this ourselves. Doctor, now, why did you kill those farmers? SCP-682, no verbal communication. Doctor, if you don't talk now, we will remove you from this attempt and place you back into SCP-682, incomprehensible. Doctor. Pardon. Motions to move microphone closer. SCP-682, still incomprehensible. Doctor. Speak up. To personnel D-85. Move the mic up closer. SCP-682. They were... Doctor to personnel. That microphone has only so much gain. Move it closer to it! Personnel D-85. His throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking. Ah! SCP-682, appearing to assault D-85's body. They were disgusting. The doctor retreats from the room. End of log. Oh. Chaos Demonic Soul Reaper. You have renewed your membership. Why, thank you. Thank you for becoming a Venti Coffee member again. That is very much appreciated. In the words of Zombie, I think he would say it is hella appreciated. Thank you very much. Ah, hello, Kayla Panda. How are you? I hope you are well. And yes, thank you again, Reaper. How are you? I've already asked that before, but I'm going to ask again. Thank you very much, too. I'll be able to get so much more tuna. You are a scholar and a gentleman. Yes, you can request any and all SCPs that you'd like to see on the Discord or on the Twitter page. I'm not allowed to eat the Twitter bird, though. Sad day. I also can't eat the other bird, albeit it looks quite delicious. Occasionally when it stands up, it looks like a little chicken. And you're doing alright. Thank you, and glad to hear. Ah, but so much hype, yes. Can we see some coffee in the chat? Can we see some little birds in the chat? Maybe some tuna fish? Get some fluff. Here you go. Have some fluffiness. Let's just do this right here, and add that right there. And then all of a sudden there shall be... coffee. Thank you again. Very much thank you. And hello, Squix. How are you? I hope that you are feeling well. Welcome. Come, sit, chill. Have a muffin. Grab yourself some coffee. We're going to be continuing on with 682 here. Addendum 682D. Breaches with SCP-682. First occurrence. Date redacted. Handled by agents. Name redacted. Name redacted. And name redacted, but this one was killed in action. Also, Personnel D129 killed in action. Personnel D027 killed in action. Personnel D173 killed in action. Personnel D200 killed in action. Personnel D193 killed in action. Second occurrence is just more people that were all killed in action. Third occurrence, everyone was killed. No, not everyone was killed this time. Everyone got away. Except for Personnel 11 and an agent. Out of all 6 occurrences, and most of the successful occurrences, it seems like most people were killed. That sucks. So, 2 shots from 10 shots. You should be really careful with that, Caleb Panda. And hello, Argent Phantom. How are you? Welcome. Come, sit, chill, have a muffin, grab some coffee, bring me some fish. And I would be much appreciative. Let's see. Okay. Addendum 682E. Termination options. Options for ways to kill SCP. 268. Log event 682E18. Dr. Blank attempts to use SCP-409 on SCP-682. 3 generals and a doctor are observing. 400. Exposure. SCP-682 began to tear at the point of contact, causing massive trauma to the area. 682 requests several times to know what he has been exposed to. For everyone that doesn't know what SCP-409 is, it is a crystal that winds up spreading more crystals. It is quite scary and dangerous. And this SCP is absolutely horrifying. 800. Crystallization begins, spreading much slower than normal. 1200. SCP-682 shows signs of extreme pain and begins having seizures. 1300. Crystallization stops at 62% conversion. Crystallite area explodes, causing massive physical trauma to 682. 1400. SCP-682 recovers from exposure despite the loss of limbs and organs. 682 begins regeneration, stating that it will attempt to kill and consume all staff involved in 682E18. Are you trying to be rude, Moy? Hello, Tara. How are you? Welcome. Glad to see you could make it. How are you today? 682 appears to now be immune to SCP-409. Use of other SCP items to terminate 682 must now be first tested on samples of 682 before full-scale testing. In accordance, the doctor recommendations, see document 27B-6, have requested permission to attempt termination of 682 using 689. The request currently pending approval from the higher-ups. That seems like a dangerous one to try to do that with. That's the small soapstone statue, and it has some pretty horrific effects. But if it messes up, we're all doomed. It has also been suggested by Dr. Gears to use SCP-182 in an attempt to communicate with SCP-682. 182 has expressed reluctance and refuses to enter the containment center, if at all possible. Let's check out the termination log. Cross-SCP termination testing for SCP-682. Due to the highly aggressive, adaptive, and intelligent nature of 682, termination testing has been ordered with clearance from O5 Command. With major concerns raised about the possible developed immunities due to the failure of SCP-409 and possible adaptations, all tests must be first carried out on tissue samples. SCP-017. Which one is this one? Oh. That one. That one's dangerous. That is the Living Shadow. Exposure to the Living Shadow. Termination test record. SCP-682 exposed to SCP-017. SCP-682 issues several sounds at extremely high volume, damaging several recording devices. Sound extends across several wavelengths, reported as the most god-awful roar by staff. SCP-017 appears to stumble, then return to a far corner of the containment area. SCP-682 attempts to break containment of both SCP-682 and SCP-017. 682 suppressed by agents and removed. 682 states, "You foul bags of tissue. You don't." And the data was expunged. Notes, it is unclear if 682 somehow damaged SCP-017 or communicated with it. Analysis of recorded sound is ongoing. He let out some pretty awkward noises. Waning Blade, hello, how are you? Yes, I have catnapped the zombie. Ha 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 ha. Oh, you're playing an intense match in Overwatch. How did it go? I hope it went well. SCP-063. Sample eradicated. No traces above molecular level remain. So what is that one? Double checking. Oh, the ultimate cleaning toothbrush. It can literally clean away anything. Interesting. I don't know if that would be the best bet, though. That seems like it'd be a dangerous bet, honestly. Where did it run off to? There we go. SCP-063 was refitted to the end of a rotary arm, which was deployed into 682's enclosure. Initial approach proves partially successful, with 682 losing more than 20% body weight before regeneration overtakes the destruction process. Newly grown tissues are not vulnerable to the eradication effect of 63. 682 destroys the deployment arm, and 63 digs a hole through the enclosure grounds, where it is later recovered. 682 succeeds in extending a long, prehensile limb through the hole and maiming 2 security personnel before containment is reestablished. Note to self, it doesn't want to brush his teeth before bed. Got it. That works. There is a toothbrush SCP. There is, indeed. 063, the ultimate cleaning toothbrush. It can clean, wipe away anything. Hypothesis. 682 is not bound to base Earth biological chemistry and can adapt itself to be organic or inorganic as necessary. Some of the boys on the lab are arguing whether we can even classify it as living, at least as we understand life. This worries me, because an unliving, undying, intelligent monster... Oh, that's where you start getting sacrifices in your name. By Dr. Zara. SCP-162. Object class, Euclid. Oh, the ultimate ball of pain. I don't like that one at all. Sample entangled without incident. Essentially, it is a ball of barbed wire, fishing line, hooks, and other sharp, pointy implements that once you get ensnared in, you will not be able to get out of. It rips and shreds and rips asunder. It's not pleasant. SCP-682 is exposed to 162. 682 begins thrashing violently, emitting several roaring sounds and issuing profanity directed at the testing staff. SCP-682 becomes entangled in 162, primarily in the lower body, head, and left forelimb. Entangled areas undergo massive trauma due to 682 thrashing. After 4 minutes of continued exposure, 682 lunges away from 162, severing its lower jaw and left hind limb, causing serious tissue damage to many areas of its body. 682 remains attached to the left forelimb of 682. 682 breaks containment using 162 against several agents, staff, and researchers, resulting in 11 deaths and 86 injuries. Forelimb and SCP-162 removed from SCP-682 during re-establishment of containment. 2 additional deaths occurred during recontainment of SCP-162. Yeah, he decided he was just going to go and just get out. And when he decided he wanted to get out, he did. Just goodbye to everyone. General Name Redacted has requested that Mr. Naguium and the members of staff involved with the approval of this test report to Site Command for disciplinary hearing. Yeah, apparently no one thought that was a good idea. Well, I don't know why you would think that would be a good idea when he can get out of everything else. Why would you give him a literal ball of trash that can kill people? Why would you think you're going to put him out with the trash? I've seen some dumb ideas in my life, but sometimes these researchers, some of which are absolute brilliant and magnificent scientists of the world, have really lost their minds. SCP-061. Double checking SCP-061. It's a computer program. Let's go through with what that one has to say. Sample is immediately overwritten by O5 command. SCP-682 exposed to SCP-061. 682 enters the relaxed state consistent with SCP-061 exposure. SCP-682 is given the command to lie down. It's a computer program that can control things, by the way. 682 remains unresponsive. Command repeated twice before SCP-682 lowers itself to the ground. Movements noted to be sluggish and jerky. 682 given the command roll onto your back. 682 unresponsive. Command repeated 3 times. 682 shudders several times, partially rolling over before returning to former position. Command repeated 6 times. SCP-682 appears to undergo a violent seizure, partially rising before collapsing to the floor. 682 given the command stand up. 682 rapidly rises and breaches containment. Stand up. And it just says, I will show you standing. I want to stand up for myself. And I'm going to rip this door apart. And then I'm going to eat you. Again, that didn't seem like it was going to work all that well. But it seemed like if anything was going to, it had a better shot than the giant ball of death trash. It says in Pokemon, you can't use a Trubbish to beat a dragon type. Well, I mean, you can, but it's not going to usually work all that well. 682 ignores all commands given to it. Several agents and staff respond to re-establish containment. 682 emits a high-pitched screech. All human beings at a 15-meter radius suddenly enter the relaxed state consistent with SCP-061. Oh, we gave him mind control powers. Are you kidding me? And Dr. Bright is your favorite SCP researcher. He's the Deadpool of the SCP universe. He is indeed, and I do plan on covering him in the near future. I thought about covering him tonight, but we had a lot of requests to cover tonight. So, be sure to put him in our research facility in the Discord. And with that, I will be able to see it and be able to put Dr. Bright closer to the top of the list, because we've gotten a few requests for him as well. And yes, I have returned, Joel. How are you? SCP-682 then consumes several members of staff before being recontained by a specially equipped emergency response team. Sonic Stun adaptation lost from SCP-682 after 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, he could use the mind control option. Well, that is quite interesting. Ashford is my name. And thank you, Joel. Although, be it, I actually think he's referring to Demonic Soul Reaper. Note, study into how SCP-682 integrated 6-1 into its biology is ongoing. The bird is moving. I could eat him. SCP-053 Test. Oh no. This is the girl. This one is sad. SCP-053 is a girl, of which if you ever come into contact with her and you are a male, she winds up basically turning you very violent. You try to wind up going through and kill said personnel. It can wind up being quite gruesome. Or SCP-053 is a little girl, of which if you wind up come into contact and you're a male or identify as male, that's where it gets really, really picky. It winds up making the male identifying individual attack the small child, in which they will eventually wind up having a heart attack and die. 439. What about 439? SCP-682 introduced to SCP-053 containment area. SCP-682 appears to be very confused and shows no sign of being affected by SCP-053. SCP-053 appears to be afraid of 682 and hides behind a chair in her containment area. I would be too. She's a small 3-year-old child. Like, that's not okay to do. SCP-682 lowers itself to the ground, resting its head on the floor. SCP-053 approaches SCP-682, and after several seconds of hesitation, briefly touches SCP-682 before rapidly returning to her hiding place. SCP-682 does not react in any way. 053 approaches 682 and pats its head, causing it to exhale through its forward nostrils. SCP-053 claps and hops in place several times before embracing the head of SCP-682. Let's see. For the remainder of the testing period, SCP-682 appears to be in a very docile state, with only 2 low-level escape attempts being made. SCP-053 is observed to bring toys and other items to SCP-682 and make several drawings on its forward carapace with crayons. She doodles on this thing. Are you kidding me? How does she get away with that? And hello, Sean the Human Monster. If you want to suggest it for us to read, Tara, by all means, throw it into the Discord in my Research Center section, or you can post it to us on Twitter, and we will gladly take a look at it next. Well, not next week, but week after next, because we do this every other Saturday. Staff entering at the end of the test phase are immediately attacked by SCP-682, resulting in 2 deaths and 5 injuries. SCP-682 contained and moved to separate containment unit. SCP-053 observed crying for several minutes after SCP-682 is removed. Notes: the reaction of 682 is notable for several reasons. First, it is one of the few incidents where SCP-682 has come into contact with biological tissue and not entered a rage state. Second, it has raised questions as to the physical makeup and composition of 053 in regards to the lack of response of 682. Third, it has provided a possible solution to long-term containment. However, approval for the mutual containment of 2 highly dangerous SCP items in a single containment unit is not very likely. You are making Nightbot work today. Thank you, thank you. What class is the hard to destroy lizard? The hard to destroy lizard, which is the one we are currently talking about, is Keter class. He is definitely a Keter class entity. They want him destroyed as soon as possible, which is kind of sad considering he is the incredibly hard to destroy lizard. SCP-123. Tissue sample absorbed by the core. Test cancelled after review of testing done between SCP-162 and 682. The potential issues arising from 682 gaining control of SCP-123 are too great at this time. Review for the proposal will be made if SCP-682 is totally incapacitated by some means, with no potential for escape or sudden adaptation. 123 is... We'll have to look into that one for a later date. But essentially, you get the memo, you get the message. This thing hasn't died yet and is incredibly insane to try to kill. Now, Dr. Clef decided he was going to lose his mind and have himself a good old time and go through just killing tons of things by using all sorts of things to test 682 against. Termination test record. SCP-682 introduced to testing area. Dr. Clef introduced to testing area. Dr. Clef and SCP-682 stare at each other for approximately 3 minutes. Dr. Cliff slowly backs out of the testing area as SCP-682 continues to stare. Dr. Cliff attempts to open the door of testing area. Door to testing area determined to be locked. Dr. Cliff reportedly uses several loud expletives and then attaches an unknown device to the door, keeping his eyes on SCP-682 the whole time. 682 continues to stare. Dr. Clef detonates a small plastic explosive charge on the door, causing a containment breach. 682 continues to stare. Dr. Clef engages emergency secondary lockdown doors and declares partial containment situation. 682 does not react. Dr. Clef proceeds to Experiment Observation Center. Somebody really did not like Dr. Clef at all. Next test. High altitude impact. Denied by O5 personnel. Testing denied. Notes. Seriously? I mean, seriously. Drop it out of an aircraft and let it fall. Who in the fuck thought of that? Next test item. One ordinary human child. Termination test record. Child began to scream and cry when 682 was introduced to the cell. Subject was immediately messily devoured by 682. Notes. Okay, so that didn't work so well. Maybe the fact that the kid was crying made 682 perceive it as hostile intent. Guest researcher Dr. W. Wow. Item. One ordinary human child drugged with drug to cancel extreme emotional reaction. Termination test record. Child stood and smiled, giggling at SCP-682 with no sign of fear. SCP-682 devoured the subject messily. Notes. Maybe we can try that again. I'm sure somewhere out there there's a kid who will make friends with it like SCP-053 did. Guest researcher Dr. W. What? No! Why on earth would you do this? Wait, here we go. The best item. Guest researcher Dr. W. Termination test record. Test subject researcher Dr. W. screamed in terror and pounded on the door of the test facility, begging to be let out. SCP-682 devoured it messily 3 minutes after being introduced. Notes. Effing sadistic asshole. I've got no sympathy for that moron whatsoever. Introducing children to this fucking monster? What the hell? Assistant Director Clef. I'm sorry, that is like by far the best one. There are far more test records. We may go back and review the rest of the test records later, but there's just far too many to cover tonight. I think you all get the drift. You can't kill the lizard. Leave the lizard alone. And for God's sake, don't feed it, children. We'll feed you to it. But there is one interesting experiment that does happen with it. But it actually comes from our next SCP. This is one that'll be near and dear to a lot of people's hearts over the last couple of weeks. Okay, I say weeks, but the last couple of days. Pokemon Home released to everybody, and to a lot of your, well, surprises, it didn't work. Like, at all. You all met a very familiar error known as Error 999, and it made where you couldn't get to your Pokemon. And this was sad. Very, very sad. So, I decided that maybe we'd make some lemonade out of these lemons, and I would give you something resulting from the number 999 that is quite pleasant. And with that, we will be discussing the one and only SCP-999. Look at him. Isn't he just the cutest little thing? Absolutely cute and adorable and kind of slimy. But that's okay. Trust me, you'll come to love this little guy. He is one of the cutest things on the planet. 1 second, though. There we go. I had to fix a slight issue. But yes, SCP-999. He is probably one of the best things to ever happen to this planet. Someone who deserves your utmost respect. You should show him some love. You should give him even more tuna than me. And I won't ever say that very often, but you really should. He is amazing. Shots. Oh. He even looks kind of like a Pokemon. Except for he won't steal your other Pokemon, now will he? Fun fact, SCP-999 is supposedly 682's brother. I don't know if I'd call him his brother, but he does have an interesting interaction with him. We'll be getting into that in just a moment. SCP-999, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-999 is allowed to freely roam the facility should it desire to, but otherwise must stay in its pen either between 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. before sleeping, or during emergency lockdowns for its own safety. Subject is not allowed out of its pen at night or off facility grounds at any time. Pen is to be kept clean and food replaced twice daily. All personnel are allowed inside SCP-999's holding area, but only if they are not assigned to other tasks at the time or if they are on break. Subject is to be played with when bored and spoken to in a calm, non-threatening tone. It looks like it wants a hug. It does want a hug. It wants all the hugs, and it deserves them. You should go to it with open arms and give it all the hugs that it needs. Show it some love, give it a hand, give it a shake, give it some love, don't flex on it, you know, all that good jazz. And yes, he does eat M&Ms. Description. SCP-999 appears to be a large, amorphous, gelatinous mass of translucent orange slime, weighing about 120 pounds, with a consistency similar to that of peanut butter. Oh, keep zombie away from it. That man loves peanut butter. Subject size and shape is easily malleable and can change shape at will, though when at rest, SCP-999 becomes a rounded, oblate dome, roughly 2 meters wide and 1 meter in height. The surface of SCP-999 consists of a thin, transparent membrane similar to that of an animal cell, roughly 0.5 centimeters thick, and is highly elastic, allowing SCP-999 to flatten portions of its body up to 2 centimeters thin. The surface is also hydrophobic, although SCP-999 can willfully absorb liquids. See Addendum SCP-999-A. The rest of SCP-999's body is filled with a viscous orange substance of unknown chemical makeup, though it is capable of digesting organic materials with ease. Subject's temperament is best described as playful and dog-like. I wouldn't call him a dog. When approached, SCP-999 will often react with overwhelming elation, slithering over to the nearest person and leaping upon them, hugging them, quote-unquote, with a pair of pseudopods, while nuzzling the person's face with a third pseudopod, all while emitting high-pitched gurgling and cooing noises. The surface of SCP-999 emits a pleasing odor that differs with whomever it is reacting with. Recorded scents include chocolate, fresh laundry, bacon, roses, and Play-Doh. I love Play-Doh. It needs to try to smell like a bag of freshly opened tuna, though. Simply touching SCP-999's surface causes an immediate mild euphoria, which intensifies the longer one is exposed to SCP-999 and lasts long after separation from the creature. Subject's favorite activity is, quote-unquote, tickle wrestling, often by completely enveloping a person from the neck down and tickling them until asked to stop, though it does not always immediately comply with this request. Though injuries may occur, SCP-999 has never been found to purposely attempt to harm others and will immediately back away and contract its body into a quivering mound while gurgling in a manner similar to a whimpering dog, seemingly apologizing for hurting someone on accident. Yes, fish. All the fish. I need all the fish, and I need it, like, right now. Please. Fish! I very much appreciate this. I really do. You are now my buddy. Now. While the creature will interact with anyone, it seems to have a special interest in those who are unhappy or hurt in any way. Persons suffering from crippling depression or PTSD, for example, have reported having a far more positive outlook on life after multiple interactions with SCP-999. The possibility of manufacturing antidepressants from SCP-999's slime is currently being discussed. In addition to its playful behavior, SCP-999 seems to love all animals. Also, hello, Wesley. I hope that you are well. And it kind of is like Ditto, except for it doesn't change into anything that it wants, sadly. You have 2 black cats outside. I sent them. You should tell them hello. They are there for my tuna. In addition to its playful behavior, SCP-999 seems to love all animals, especially humans, refusing to eat any meat or even risking its own life to save others. In one occasion, leaping in front of a person to take a bullet fired at them. Subject's intellect is still up for debate, though its behavior is infantile. It seems to understand human speech and most modern technology, including guns. SCP-999's diet consists entirely of candy and sweets, with M&Ms and Necco wafers. Necco wafers? Why would you want to eat Necco wafers? Those are not tasty. Like, at all. Being its favorites, its eating methods are similar to those of an amoeba. See, they understand. Bring Ashford his tuna. Now. Addendum SCP-999-A. Reminder to all staff. SCP-999 is not to consume caffeinated soft drinks of any kind. Last week someone gave SCP-999 a can of cola along with its usual breakfast. Not only was it literally bouncing off the walls for half an hour, the carbonation makes SCP-999 visibly queasy afterwards, and it refused to move or eat for the rest of the day. SCP-999 has thankfully recovered since, but the staff member in question has been reprimanded. Addendum SCP-999-B. The following report from an experiment in which SCP-682, our lovable indestructible lizard from before, is exposed to SCP-999 in hopes that it will curb creatures' omnicidal rage. This is going to be interesting. This could go very poorly. I think this is going to be funny. SCP-999 is released into SCP-682's containment area, and 999 immediately slithers towards SCP-682. 999 goes up to it with elated gurgles. 682.
What is that?
SCP-999 moves in front of SCP-682, jumping up and down in a dog-like manner while calling out in a high-pitched, squealing noise.
Disgusting.
682 immediately steps on SCP-999, completely flattening 999. Observers were about to abort the experiment when SCP-682 started talking again.
What is this? I feel good.
SCP-999 can be seen crawling up from in between SCP-682's toes, up along its side and around its neck, where it clings on and begins gently nuzzling with the pseudopod. A wide grin slowly spreads across SCP-682's face, or at least what we assume is a grin. We can't really ever tell.
I feel so happy. 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 Happy.
682 repeats the word happy for several minutes, laughing occasionally before escalating into non-stop laughter. As laughter continues, 682 rolls around on its back, slamming its tail upon the floor with dangerous force. SCP-999 starts tickling 682 with extreme force, and 999 continues to pound about the ground, laughing, demanding for it to stop tickling, though. 682 and 999 continue the quote-unquote tickle fight until 682 finally wears down and appears to fall asleep with what would appear to be a smile on its face. After 15 minutes with no activity, 2 D-Class personnel enter the room and retrieve SCP-999. When 999 is removed, 682 immediately wakes up and unleashes an unidentifiable wave of energy from its body, all the while laughing maniacally. All persons within the wave's range collapse into crippling fits of laughter, allowing 682 to escape and slaughter all in its path. Meanwhile, SCP-999 quickly rescues as many persons as it can, taking them to a safe place to recover from 682's laughter wave, while agents suppress and recontain 682. Despite the tragedy that 682 had brought upon the facility, SCP-999 has not shown any fear towards the creature, and in fact has made gestures suggesting that it wants to play with SCP-682 again. 682, however, has stated that
vigilant little can funk off and die.
it really does not like 999. What a dirtbag. How can you not like 999? 999 is the ultimate good of pudding. Memo from the doctor. While the test was unsuccessful and ended in tragedy, that had to be the funniest thing I have ever seen. I never thought I'd see the day I would regard SCP-682 as quote-unquote cute. Please send me a copy of the security tapes ASAP. Imagining that big grown lizard, whom of which is nothing more than death itself, rolling around with laughter has to be one of the grandest things you could ever watch. It has to be quite entertaining for anyone else involved, at least. Stretch. How are you all holding up? God of Pudding, a cute name for SCP-999. I would have to wholeheartedly agree. I do think that is like the best name. One sec, everybody. Had to do a quick recalibration, had to make a couple of things work a little bit better. But how are you all holding up? I hope that you're having a good time so far. I hope you're enjoying these tales, these SCPs that we have chosen out for you today. We've chosen you one of the darker, more devastating SCPs, as well as probably the cutest thing to ever exist across the planet. Would definitely give Pikachu and the Pokemon Company a run for their money, considering their error 999 has nothing on our lovely SCP-999. Yes, I'm kind of shady, I'm kind of salty, and I'm kind of mad. But yes, I hope that you are enjoying these so far. You think that SCP-131 and 999 would be good friends? Why do you say that? I mean, I can get that you're a dog person, but dog people can still enjoy the friendliness of a cat. I mean, it's just a thing. Everyone loves cats. Those who say that they don't secretly still love cats. Usually. Let's see, though. We do have more for you tonight. Let's go ahead and see who's going to be next on our list. We have tons of good SCPs that you guys have suggested to us. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we still have in store. Let's see. Yes, we just finished up with 999. And how are you? I hope you are well. And I do have a question. Are any of you here theater kids, drama dorks, lovers of the fine arts? I hope so. I would guess that there would be many of you. Ah, we have one right there, the lovely zombie. Ah, we have a list in the description of what SCPs we'll be covering today. I'm very sorry, Chaos. SCP-049. SCP-049. That is on the list of things to talk about. But the question is how many of you enjoyed the theater? Whether it be in school or even now. How many of you have had a good time with your theater experiences? Because I do have an SCP that may stroke your interest, but you should avoid at all costs. This is definitely a danger class. One that'll definitely get you next time. I've already looked at the small mite. I'm not allowed to eat the small mite. I would enjoy it, but I'm not allowed to. I would get yelled at. Let's see. Let's go ahead and show who is next. We have for you today SCP-035. And it is quite a blast indeed. Though be it, I don't think I'd ever want to come in contact with this mask. Definitely not. This thing is the thing that nightmares are truly made of. An absolute masterclass in fear itself. You know the many masks that we wear to change our everyday life, but what happens when that mask decides it's going to wear you? I mean, also all the SCPs that we're doing today are also in the description, so they can also easily be looked up. Let's find out about the mask that wears you. We have for you today SCP-035, Object Class, Keter, Special Containment Procedures. SCP-035 is to be kept within a hermetically sealed glass case, no fewer than 10 centimeters, aka 4 inches, thick. This case is to be contained within a steel, iron, and lead-shielded room at all times. O31, what is love? I don't speak good English. We are currently only doing the 6 SAP. Anyway, no, we're only doing the SCPs that are currently in our description list today. And that's all we're going to be covering today. But if you would like to suggest other ones, we do have ways for you to do so for our upcoming SCP events. But with that, we'll get back into this. This case is to be contained within a steel, iron, and lead-shielded room at all times. Doors are to be triple locked at all times, with the exception of allowing personnel in or out. No fewer than 2 armed guards are to be posted at any time. Guards must remain outside at all times and are not allowed within the containment room under any circumstances. A trained psychologist is to remain on site at all times. Research personnel are not to touch SCP-035 at any time. SCP-035 must be moved to a new sealed case every 2 weeks. The previous case must be disposed of via SCP-101. Oh. Did y'all see that? Did that happen for you? Did y'all see that? Did that happen for you? Did that happen? I'm guessing it did. Ha. Ha. Watch the mask. Watch the mask. I'm watching you. I don't trust you, Mask. I don't trust you at all. It tries to change. It seriously tries to change. That's not okay. That's not okay at all. Why would you do this? On the page I'm currently reading from, it moved. It changed. It smiled at me. You need to go home. You need to stop that. Jesus Christ. Apparently the image doesn't cycle properly on here, but where I get to see it, it moves, and it moves in a non-friendly manner. It's smiling at me. I don't like this one. I don't like this one. You need to stop. But we will keep going. As it shows no adverse reactions to SCP-035's corruption. Anyone who comes into contact with SCP-035 when it is in possession of a host is to be given immediate psychological evaluations. SCP-035 appears to be a white porcelain comedy mask, although at times it will change to tragedy. In these events, all existing visual records, such as photographs, video footage, or even illustrations of SCP-035 will automatically change to reflect the new appearance. A highly corrosive and degenerative viscous liquid constantly seeps from the eye and mouth holes of SCP-035. Anything coming into contact with the substance slowly decays over a period of time, depending on the material, until it is decayed completely into a pool of the original contaminant. Glass seems to react the slowest to the effects of the item, hence the construction choice of its immediate container. Living organisms that come into contact with the substance react much the same way, with no chance of recovery. Origin of the liquid is unknown. Liquid is only visible in the front and does not emerge or is even visible from the other side. That is a creepy ass mask, though. That mask ain't wearing me. I ain't gonna put on no cat mask. You can put that away. Subjects within 1.5 to 2 meters, aka 5 to 6 feet, from SCP-035 or in visual contact with it, experience a strong urge to put it on. When SCP-035 is placed on the face of an individual, an alternate brainwave pattern from SCP-035 overlaps that of the original host, effectively snuffing it out and causing brain death to the subject. Subject then claims to be the consciousness contained within SCP-035. The bodies of the possessed subjects decay at a highly accelerated rate, eventually becoming little more than mummified corpses. Nevertheless, 035 has demonstrated the ability to remain in cognitive control of a body experiencing several severe structural damage. Even if the subject's body literally decays to the point where motion is not mechanically possible, no effect is found to be had when placed on the face of an animal. I'm safe. Take that. You can have at it. You wear the mask. I am safe and sound because I am a fluffy buddy. Being a house cat gets better and better every day. Conversations with SCP-035 have proven to be informative. Researchers have learned various details about other SCP objects and history in general. As SCP-035 claims to have been at many momentous events, SCP-035 displays a highly intelligent and charismatic personality. You need to stop doing that over there, do you hear me? I know my viewers aren't. I suggest you stay away from any comedy masks. Being both amiable and flattering to all those who speak with it, 035 has scored the 99th percentile on all intelligence and aptitude tests administered to it, and appears to have a photographic memory. Oh, that's neat. However, psychological analysis has discovered SCP-035 to possess a highly manipulative nature, capable of forcing sudden and profound changes to the interviewer's psychological state. SCP-035 has proven to be highly sadistic, prompting some to commit suicide and transforming others into near-mindless servants with linguistic persuasion alone. 035 has stated that it has intimate knowledge of the workings of the human mind, and implied that it could change anyone's views if given enough time. And hello, Creamy Splash Hats. And a happy late Valentine's Day to you as well. Additional. 035 was found in a sealed crypt in an abandoned house in Venice in 18... Information redacted. You already have a mask. Someone's demonic hollow mask. This is my wizard mask grants. This is my wizard mask. Grants me powers of hollows. Interesting. Addendum 03501. 035 has been found to be able to possess anything that has a humanoid shape, including mannequins, corpses, and statues. 035 has been able to motivate all into movement, removing the need to expose live subjects to SCP-035. Still, anything it possesses inevitably decays into motionlessness. You ever see that claymation of Tom Sawyer where they meet Satan? Getting those vibes. Honestly, yes. For one, a great animation. An absolutely horrifying animation, but a great animation nonetheless. And this definitely screams that in spades. Kind of fascinating. I wonder if the creator had met this mask. That could be quite interesting. SCP-035 has facilitated an escape attempt, convincing several of the research staff to aid in its bid for freedom. Insurrection failed. All staff that have been in contact with SCP-035 have been terminated, and mandatory psychiatric evaluations have been implemented on all personnel coming into contact with 035. Addendum 03503. It has been determined that 035 is capable of telepathy, whether or not it possesses a host, even penetrating into the subconscious of others, and using the knowledge it finds to its advantage. Extreme caution is advised when choosing subjects to converse with SCP-035. No, I have not watched Sonic yet, but I really want to. I'm quite the fan of the Blue Blur, and I know that Zombies is as well. I have no idea if Zombie will accompany him on his eventual trek to see the movie, but I'm hoping that I at least get to. I should have a seat right next to them. It'd be fun. I could even eat some popcorn. I can at least have Zombie's popcorn. He's not allowed to have popcorn anyway. SCP Addendum 035-04. SCP-035 has expressed an interest in other SCPs, most notably SCP-517 and 682. Ah, the Terror Lizard himself. Doctor has expressed worry that should SCP-035 bond with either, their regenerative qualities would negate its corruption and give it a permanent host. I don't want to see that. That would be awful. Why would you do that? I'm sure the cats are allowed in movie theaters. You don't gotta tell nobody that I'm going. You can just sneak me in. Y'all have that really swanky one that's not that far from y'all. That has like the really big comfy chairs. Just carry me in a purse. No one would argue you having a purse. I can be a little cat in a purse. I have enough intelligence to remain quiet long enough to watch a movie. I want to see that movie. Take me with you. Now! Addendum 05. After several more escaped attempts and after reviewing SCP-035's incident record, High Command has ordered that it be permanently sealed within the facility and prohibited from being allowed any more hosts. Several personnel have protested against this, with some even erupting into violence. As a direct result, all personnel that have come into contact with SCP-035 have been terminated. Going forward, all personnel that deal with the 035 will be rotated frequently, and contact is to be limited even to its dormant state to as little as possible. You have a cat? Ashford ASMR. I am not an ASMR cat. Why do you say that? I do not have a soothing, sultry tone. I'm just a cat. And yes, I would definitely pay for the ticket and tuna. I have plenty of tuna to give to them. If they don't want to take the tuna, then I'll sneak it in a bag. I need this movie. Addendum 06. Personnel within 10 meters of 035 have recently reported feeling unease, stating that they can hear unintelligible whispering. Several others have suffered from severe migraines. Object has been monitored, but there is no change in its dormant behavior, and no sounds have been recorded. Yes, I am Ashford. I am the meow meow that you see before you. I am the cat that shall haunt your nightmares. I am the cat that flexes on all. Whoosh! Ha ha! What do you got to say about that? I am the best cat, the only cat, the cat that you will only ever see here, and will always be the only cat you ever need. So, sorry, excuse me. It does happen. But yes, there we go. Neener. I'm kind of tired if you can't tell. My bad. I don't have a Meowth friend. A motion to reinstate SCP-035's host privileges have been brought up once more, if only on a temporary basis, to discover these new changes in the object's behavior. These were quickly denied. Addendum 07. The walls of SCP-035's containment cell have suddenly begun secreting a black substance. Tests on the substance have revealed it to be human blood, although highly contaminated with several foreign and unknown agents. Substance is corrosive, having a pH of 4.5, and prolonged exposure to the walls has proven to be detrimental to their structural integrity. Ew. Highly acidic blood. Are you turning the walls into xenomorphs now? What the hell's wrong with you? More notably, it seems to be forming patterns on the walls. Several segments seem to be paragraphs in various languages, including Italian, Latin, Greek, and Sanskrit. Translation is pending. Other segments appear to be diagrams depicting ritualistic sacrifice and mutilation, often for the arcane benefit of the person committing them. Several staff members have been shocked to note that all the sacrifices bear an uncanny resemblance to various personnel and their loved ones, often in conflicting positions. Researchers, while in the room examining these newly formed patterns, have complained of hearing loud whispering and high-pitched, unnerving laughter at irregular intervals. Personnel in this section working daily near and around SCP-035's containment unit have suffered catastrophic moral damage, with all-time high in suicide rates and staff in that area, whether or not they have ever had contact with SCP-035. His power is growing. It's spreading. It's saying, "Give me tuna. Please." Addendum 08. In light of the mass suicide/homicide of the members of the research team tasked with translating the passages garnered from 035's containment cell, the morale damage in the area, and the general loss of staff dealing with 035 to either death or insanity, it has been decided to coat the inner and outer walls of the containment cell of 148, which has proved well in containment of 132, see document 132-01, in order to hopefully block out the high levels of negativity being emitted by 035. I have no idea when somebody else is streaming. I'm a cat that sits next to a decaying computer. How would I know? This is where I live all day. Do you know what they keep in this computer? I don't get Google. I get SCP files. That is what I get. That is all that I get. So, yeah. I just got that reference to the Mass movie. It's absolutely beautiful. The use of SCP-148 worked well, causing morale and suicide rates to return to near pre-SCP-035 rates. However, the material appears to facilitate the negativity within the cell, causing a veritable greenhouse effect inside. Personnel inside the cell have stated that they feel a heavy sense of dread, fear, anger, and general depression, as well as hearing a constant, nearly inaudible whispering on immediate entry. A prolonged stay causes severe migraine, suicidal tendencies, heavy hemorrhaging of blood vessels around the eyes and inside the mouth and nose, general hostility to others, and for the whispering to increase to almost deafening volumes, intersected by a constant mocking laughter. Exposure of more than 3 hours inevitably results in the subject falling into a deep psychosis and attempting to harm either themselves or others. Most spoke in Latin or Greek, despite the fact that several did not previously know how to speak said languages beforehand. Zombie will be let out tomorrow, maybe. Possibly. I don't know. It depends. Zombie, when are we letting the zombie out? When are we doing that? Do you know? I mean, I think he's quite content playing his Pokemon right now. He's breeding lots of Pokemon. I think he'll be okay. We can leave him in there for a couple of days. Then we don't gotta listen to him go on and on and on and on and on. Later tonight, but that means that I gotta go home. Why would you do that? And, I mean, I'm telling you, he'll be okay. He's got his Switch. He's got his 3DS. He's got all of his Pokemon. He's happy. I kind of agree with Chaos Demonic Soul Reaper here. We could just leave him there until I'm ready to let him out. Do you not have much love for this adorable black kitty? Look, see? Unlike most cats, I can waggle my tail at will. Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee, wiggledy-wiggle. Just for you. Look, it's so cute. I can even do this. Can Zombie do this? I don't think Zombie can do this. I can, though. Neener, neener. And, wait for it. Boom! Ultimate Flex. And see, this way, it's cheaper. Then all you gotta do is take me to the Sonic movie. And I can watch the awesome movie. I'm serious, take me to that movie. Okay. The presence of blood in both word and diagram formations has increased disproportionately The walls become cluttered, and the formations beginning to overlap each other. The substance has proven to be both difficult to clean and even more corrosive than was originally recorded, with a pH roughly of 2.4. General estimation gives the current walls a life of 2 months before they will need replacement. Hello, Fulfill Your Destiny. How are you, my friend? I hope you are well. Please come, sit, chill, have some coffee, enjoy yourself. Have a muffin. How do you do, my friend? And have a good night, Creamy. Take care. Let's see. It is becoming gradually more and more difficult to contain SCP-035, and the debate to reinstate its host privileges has once again come up, and has once again been denied. The walls, ceiling, and floor of SCP-035's containment cell have now been completely saturated in blood. All personnel entering and guarding the area must wear a full hazmat protection suit. Constant cleaning efforts are being instated. 035-11. The magnitude, intensity, and reoccurrence of the phenomena that occur within SCP-035's containment cell have increased to an alarming degree. The cell door has been known to become locked of its own accord while personnel are inside and unable to be opened for a period of time. Appendages form out of the larger puddles of blood and often attempt to grab or harm personnel near them. Blurry apparitions have started appearing to staff. Electronic devices no longer work inside the cell, and the light cannot be turned on, though there is no physical reason why it does not work, forcing those entering to use non-electric-based light sources. I'm sorry, you couldn't pay me to go in there with a candle. Have you lost your damn mind? Hands are coming out of the walls. And I'm glad you're enjoying some SCP goodness. Cleaning measures are having no discernible effect on the cell, and the walls are degrading at a very high rate, forcing them to be replaced within a week at best, although the blood makes it nearly impossible to properly achieve this. 035 may have to be moved to a new cell entirely, with the old one sealed off and disengaged from the rest of the facility. Wait, what? Another Felicia Hardy Marvel Universe Black Cat anti-hero lover? I mean, I do thoroughly enjoy Black Cat. Black Cat's a fun character. And it's not just a bias of me being a cat. Don't give me that look. But that is the end of SCP-035. And definitely interesting, to say the least. A mass that is basically destroying everything around and disintegrating everything that it comes into contact with while having ultimate mind control powers. Could you imagine? As I stated before, we all wear many masks, especially when we're out in public and dealing with the world. We wear many masks to change things around. You're referring to Moy. When it comes to Boys Be Thirsty, you leave me alone. But no, when it comes down to it, we all wear many masks in our everyday lives to kind of keep ourselves hidden from the world around us and to make sure that the only person that sees us for who we really are is ourselves. But then again, what do you do with a mask that wears you instead and hides you away from the world permanently? What would you do if you came anywhere near this? What would you do if you started seeing the walls covered in blood and in various languages of Greek, Italian, and Latin? And then all of a sudden spooky hands come out of the ground and try to take you over, as well as the mask that when you wear it becomes like the mask itself, without the cartoon antics of Jim Carrey, who's also Robotnik in the new Sonic movie that you should be taking me to go see like right now. Please. The theaters should never be closed. They should always be open for a cat that wants to go watch a movie. They are losing so much feline business now. I blame them for their own negligence. But yes, what did you think of this wonderful SCP? This has always been a favorite of mine. It's always quite creepy, and it does horrifying things, and it makes for a great bit of entertainment when you watch somebody play SCP Containment Breach and you see the mass take over people and kill everyone else. You feel the mask is much less creepy? I think it's plenty creepy. It moves, it changes how it looks, and all of a sudden it takes you over. I don't like things that take me over. I'd rather die first. You know what it's like to be controlled as a puppet. And know that irony is not lost on me. But we have more to cover tonight. But I would like to know what y'all thought about that one. That one was requested by quite a few of you guys, so I hope that you enjoyed that reading. Well, I mean, that's quite an interesting thing, Chaos Demonic Soul Reaper, but I don't know if your Hollow Mask, which is just a Souls Mask, a interesting Souls Mask nonetheless, but a Souls Mask, would protect you from the mask of this kind of power and magnitude. Vape Cat indeed. Wait for it, here it comes. Just 3, 2, 1. Every time that goes off, I shut down for a minute, and my brain just kind of goes away. But it can be quite the interesting moment. I wonder if zombies can add me a vape effect. That would be neat. I think they've probably tried. But coming anywhere near it or into contact with it causes problems, so I don't think they can smash it. They can control everybody around it. Now here's one that many of you will be familiar with. I have a random question. I have a YouTuber question for you, actually. Whoever can get it gets a piece of fish. The question for you, if you are so inclined to answer and help me out, is: are you familiar with a certain YouTuber that likes to scream a lot, plays a lot of scary games, and is known for running into a certain dark SCP that I guess he likes to refer to as Radical Larry? I didn't even get to finish it. Yes, it's Markiplier. You were so excited for that. I guess we have a Markiplier fan in the audience. To Zombie, I will give you some fish. Have you some fishy goodness. I'm such a fangirl. Please stop me. I don't know if we can. Well, to anyone who has ever wondered what the name of what the actual SCP classification is for Radical Larry, as it is so lovingly and affectionately called, it is SCP-106, aka the Old Man, or the Decaying Man. He is quite an interesting subject, to say the least. So let's go ahead and let you see him. Let's see. Where did you go? There we are. This is your lovely one and only Radical Larry, aka SCP-106, an all-time favorite of many an SCP fan. But I don't think he's quite as pretty as what you see in the video games. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now, that he is far more dangerous than any SCP that you've encountered so far. And he's far more dangerous than that little video game. SCP Item 106, Object Class, Keter, Special Containment Procedures. We have several revisions to this. They have tried several times to capture and hold this guy down. We're going to give you the most recent, which is Revision 11-8. Yes, there are a lot of these. No physical interaction with SCP-106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than 2/3 vote of O5 Command. Any such interaction must be undertaken in AR-2 maximum security sites after a general non-essential staff evacuation. All staff, research, security, D-class, etc. are to remain at least 60 meters away from their containment cell at all times, except in the event of a breach event. I've been found out. My cover's blown. I'm such a Marky Moo fan. Well, don't feel bad. I find it to be quite entertaining myself. He's quite a beautiful man, nonetheless. And that voice, I could listen to that voice forever. I don't know many who couldn't. SCP-106 is to be contained in a sealed container comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, each layer separated by no less than 36 centimeters of empty space. I mean, like, look at him. Especially if you've watched his Unis Honest content recently, where that man likes to take off his shirt. Wow. Each layer separated by no less than 36 centimeters of empty space. Support struts between the layers are to be randomly spaced. Containers to remain suspended no less than 60 centimeters from any surface by ELO 2D electromagnetic supports. Don't tell Amy channel. Late night with Mark. Ooh. 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 Ooh la la. Sorry. Just daydreaming a bit. Secondary containment area is to be comprised of 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and random assembly of surfaces and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems, capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light instantly with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Any corrosion observed on any containment cell surfaces, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing/killed in action. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note, continued research and observations have shown that, when faced with highly complex random assemblies of structure, SCP-106 can be, quote-unquote, confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structure. SCP-106 is also shown an aversion to direct sudden light. This is not manifested in any form of physical damage, but a rapid exit into the pocket dimension generated on solid surfaces. These observations, along with those of lead aversion and liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidence by 43%. The quote-unquote primary cells have also been effective in recovery incidents requiring recall protocol. Observation is ongoing. We're playing Deltarune. I heard that Zombie's supposed to play that soon. I'm kind of excited for it. I got to watch him play that Sonic card game, and he had Deltarune characters in it. SCP-106 causes a Wait, I'm ahead of myself. I must explain exactly what it looks like first. Here is the description for your radical area, though, but you can already see them on the screen. You need a little bit more info. SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the quote-unquote rotting quality is observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not exceptionally agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. SCP-106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. Why, hello, Kelly. How are you today? I hope you're well. When attacking, SCP-106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, and tendons, then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket. SCP-106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials, and the creation of a black mucus-like substance similar to the material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissues and is assumed to be a pre-digestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact. Afterwards, the effect appears to, quote-unquote, burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 is able to, quote-unquote, vanish inside of solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. 106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples: entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin of SCP-106 or a simple layer created by SCP-106. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it to be comprised mostly of halls and rooms with data expunged entry. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting, recapture, and data expunged. It would be a cool quirk. It'd be a cool superpower to have, but it's also absolutely horrific if it causes a corrosion effect upon doing so. Basically, this SCP turns you old and eventually kills you with aging. I mean, kind of. It actually kind of eats you. SCP Review Notes. Due to the exceedingly difficult to contain nature of SCP-106, SCP is to be reviewed every 3 months or during a post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical damage appears to have no effect on 106. Current SCP, as of date expunged, revolves around basic observation and immediate response. Previous, more proactive special containment procedures have been recalled due to the events of breaches. Data expunged, data expunged, data expunged, data expunged, and data expunged. SCP-106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy, in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause of this is unknown. However, it has been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. SCP-106 will emerge from this state in a very agitated state, and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. Recall protocol data expunged. Gotcha, Chaos. Here's how to avoid and or defeat SCP-106. Data expunged. Woohoo! Excitement! SCP-106 appears to hunt and attack based on desire, not hunger. SCP-106 will attack and collect multiple prey items during hunting behavior event. We actually have an added note here to that. In its hunt, treats. I would like to hear again the state that 106 is not, as is commonly believed, a basic predator, on par with an advanced shark. SCP-106 is a sentient being, albeit a totally alien one. SCP-106 appears to be aware of several things beyond the scope of pure instinct and genetic memory. SCP-106 consistently breaches at moments where recovery and containment are most difficult. A fox may see his way out of a trap, but only a man will wait for his captors to look away to escape. For fuck's sake, where the hell is it? Agent Wang sighed, rubbing his face through his mask. The night was chill, but all three men were sweating badly. All around them surged horrors, monsters, demons, fantasy beasts, and animate objects, giggling and roaring as they wandered. The three men in gas masks, armored suits, looked underdressed, if anything. As they stood, one man suddenly reached out, a gloved fist grabbing a mildly drunk zombie and tugging it close for a few seconds, before releasing him back to the surge of humanity, the undead beast cursing and stumbling away. Fucking Halloween bullshit. We need to seal this whole area. Agent Drac shook his head, gesturing to the traveling packs of costume revelers. The rail car popped too close to the city. It wasn't even supposed to be on this track. They think MC and D might have bugged up something. Can't clamp the whole town without major fallout. And what the hell do you think will happen now? The old bastard is out there, and we can't even fucking find him! Wing kicked a discarded wrapper, glaring through tinted lenses at everyone who didn't have to chase hell for a living. Have a wonderful night, Brian. Take care. Pleasant nightmares to you, my friend. Drake patted the fuming man on the back. Easy, big fella. Command figures the old man takes a couple people, then does his lazy crocodile thing. That's easier to cover than why a major city had to be quarantined on Halloween. Parks, until now little more than a statue, crackled in with his broken, rusty voice. How hard is it to find a rotten old man that kills everything it touches? Wang shook his head, still scanning the crowd. He just looks like an old man most of the time. He can't look however he wants. Normally we tell people just follow the screaming. Fat fucking lot of good that does now. Where the hell is our expert? A brittle, creaking chuckle rolled over the radio. Harkin says he's as much an expert on SCP-106 as a plane crash survivor is an expert in aviation. They won't field lab techs until our initial avail. We're on our own for now. The three men stood awash in horrors, looking for one that would put all the rest to shame. The drunk angel wandered on the edge of the fire. Demons, zombies, and pop culture icons swirled around her, moving like a single mass before scattering into small clusters and pairs, only to surge back together again. The bonfire seemed to roar in time with the pounding music, the field chosen for the sudden teen invasion, just far enough to avoid noise complaints, but not far enough to attract unwanted adult oversight. Alcohol flowed, people giggled, and the sharp snap of lowered inhibitions and teen angst was thick in the chill air. The night was still young, yet already several pairs had drifted from the comfort of the fire to seek other comforts in the dark. Oh my, why how lewd you are. Private woods ringing in the field. The angel glared at the silent trees, taking another pull on an almost empty beer. She drained it, then tossed it down, to meet the holocaust of its brothers being slowly kicked and stamped in the soft dirt. She should be there, being held in warm arms, kissing a warm mouth. But no, she decided to run, with the one boy who seemed to think the moment before our party was the best time to bring up his worries about our relationship. Bastard. Man, that's kind of low. That's really low. The angel, now with lopsided wings, started to wander through those cool, dark trees. Fuck him. If he wanted to toss her aside, fine, but that didn't mean she wouldn't get to have fun still. She giggled a bit, smiling for the first time in a while. Why not have a little fun? Play a trick and get her treat. She laughed, the flush of wicked amusement and booze high in her cheeks. She'd seen one of the boys from her study hall wander back here. Maybe she could find him, get a little better acquainted. Wow. Yeah, that's Halloween for you. She walked into the cooler darkness, the occasional giggle, snip of a whisper, or a flash of a glow stick, the only indication of life. She stumbled over her roots, staggering forward, and bracing her hand on the slimy tree trunk. She yanked her hand away almost instantly, the gritty, oozing texture making her palm burn, the loss of support almost sending the angel sprawling. She squinted at her hand, making out a smear of gritty, fibrous jelly coating it, the burning getting worse as she noticed the odd pits eaten into the trunk of the tree. The angel shivered, suddenly sober and very aware of the fact that nobody knew where she was, that she knew of nobody close enough to even call for her. She tried to rub her palm against her poofy skirt, not noticing the red and black smear she made on it. Eyes wide and staring, some deep, dim part of her primordial brain ringing an alarm. She started to walk, quickly focusing on the waving beacon of the bonfire, trying to make herself feel silly, to ignore the swelling, unreasoning panic. A twig broke behind her. She froze, a white shade, one hand dripping blood from a corrosive injury she would have been horrified about had she looked. The angel didn't dare look back, but she was terrified to run. To hear something following, reaching, grabbing. Moments passed, filled with nothing, the angel finally resolving to run right at the moment when a thin, bony hand reached through her costume and into the muscles of her back, like a nasty child squishing its hands into a cake. She screamed, or tried to. The sound squelched, too little more than a harsh bark by the sheer volume of pain, limbs suddenly boneless and leaden, nerves dead except for agony. She felt fingers touching her ribs from the inside, even as they were slowly eaten away and corroded, her body shifting slowly to face the hand's owner. The flicker of the distant fire showed something withered, dark, slimy, and pulpy soft, but weary and strong. Two milky black eyes glistened at her in a too large head, hovering over a frozen corpse grin, teeth thin and chipped. The pinned angel gasped and blubbered, feeling an oily, burning corruption seeping into her body, trying to ignore the slow falling feeling, trying not to feel the ground below her turning mushy and soft, swallowing both figures inch by inch. It leaned closer, and despite the searing horror of that face, some still sane part of her welcomed what was surely an approaching end to her pain. It lingered, however, the other twisted claw of the hand rising as the ground started to swallow their hips. The new touch made the angel lucid with new fear, her face locking onto those rotten eyes. She recognized the shine behind them and started to scream with a new repulsed horror, even as it started to pull both her dress and skin away in sodden ribbons. Jason ran, lungs burning, trying to yell for help between sharp gasps of air. His Batman costume felt like such a joke now, running between streetlights, feeling that warm spot of pee on his pants. Where was everyone? It had been so stupid, trying to be the big brave kids and go out alone. Now he really was alone, and his friends had probably been eaten. He didn't know this for sure, but when the boogeyman dropped out of a tree and started shoving kids into a wall that was suddenly like quicksand, it was probably a safe bet. He hadn't even been able to do anything, just watch as those long, bony fingers grabbed his two best friends and just yanked them away like dolls, barely screaming before the squishy black wall gulped them up. The boogeyman, it hooked his fingers into David's eyes, like Dad had taught him to hold a bowling ball. And Jason was abruptly sick down the front of his costume. The half-digested mass of chocolate-looking, unsettlingly like the goo that is splattered everywhere while the tall, lanky, naked old man had landed out of the tree. He stopped, stumbling to his knees, coughing and gagging, wailing out a weak scream for help into the dim night. It drifted off. Unheeded, the boy unable to even sob, too numb with exhaustion and horror. He barely noticed the footsteps until they were nearly on top of him. He looked up, ready to beg whatever adult he saw for help. Then he saw the legs. Thin, black, the feet looking pulpy and flat with age, the concrete under them turning cracked and gooey. Jason looked up, more shaking and more violently. The withered hips, the sticky, soft chest that didn't rise or fall, and finally, that nightmare head, looking like some kind of rotten pumpkin, but black and oily as the bucket of tar. The eyes locked onto the boy's, as shiny and blank as a flashlight in a basement. The teeth parted, some kind of rolling, smiling, slimy blackness shifting inside. Jason stumbled back, gasping, trying to scream, but unable to even breathe correctly. He stared at the boogeyman as he rolled something in the palm of that thin, beaten hand, pulling it between two bony fingers and lifting it to his mouth. The boy thought it was candy, or something, but then he saw a glint of metal. It was his best friend Anthony's front tooth. It still had the bracket from its braces on it. The boogeyman placed it between his teeth, gently, the tooth still white and clean in that filthy, dripping mouth. He seemed to hold it there for a moment. Then his jaw bunched and the tooth shivered. Then a burst like a jawbreaker under a car tire. He chewed it twice and then just stopped, still staring at the boy. It seemed to go on and on, Jason unsure if he was even breathing anymore. Knowing this was the end, this is what would happen. This is what happened when you didn't listen, when you went off alone. The boogeyman came and took you forever and always. But he didn't. He turned, seeming to get ready to take a step, then fell forward, slowly, like an old man tripping over a shoe. The black monster almost hit the ground, but just fell through it, like it was made of air. Nothing but a black smear left behind on the concrete, and the tiny corroded bracket for the tooth. When they found him hours later, he gripped it hard enough to embed it in his palm. The boy sat comforted and miserable. His mother had been nice enough to let him at least wear his Mario costume, but even if he had to admit he was probably too sick to walk around the house, let alone outside for hours in the cold. He'd woken up vomiting, and it had just continued. His parents hoping for the best, but finally forced to cancel the trick-or-treating. As sad as he was, they did try their best to make it up to him. There was a small bowl of candy for him, with the promise any leftovers would be given to him, and he could watch all the scary movies he liked. Trick or treat! Aw, such a cute turtle. And what are you, honey? I'm Rapunzel. Well, here you go, princess. Thank you. He hadn't even wanted to help pass things out. It was better to just try and ignore things. Just pretend everyone else was inside, too. That made it better. He tugged the floppy hat down a bit, trying to convince himself that his tummy wasn't feeling like a hedgehog was rolling around inside. He watched the zombies lurch across the screen, half wishing that the screaming people running for the house were kids from school. He hadn't even wanted to help pass things out. I already read that. Trick or treat! Oh, what a nice vampire. I'm Dracula! Rawr! So fearsome. Here you go. Thank you. He turned up the movie, the slow groans of the walking dead drowning out the happy shouts of the living. The worst was going to be tomorrow, being forced to listen to everyone, watch them eating candy and talking about different houses and adventures. He sighed and swallowed thickly, his stomach doing something slow, oily roll. The boy pushed away the candy he'd been nibbling, suddenly sickened by even the smell. Hello? Oh. Are you with... Oh, God! The sudden, rising shriek of his mother made the boy suddenly bolt upright, his stomach clenching even worse, but now totally forgotten. He couldn't see her from the couch, but he could hear noises, thumping and muffled shouts, and some kind of slimy-sounding rustle, like sewage over dry leaves. He stood and started to peer around the short wall blocking the entryway, calling with a hesitant voice, scared of not getting a response, but almost equally so getting one. He was only a few feet away when the hand whipped around the wall, gripping it tight. It was a black and gray and thin, as bony and thin-skinned as his grandmother's, with wide, flat nails gripping the paint hard. Where it touched, a black stain was spreading, like grease on a paper bag, the knuckles looking puffy and thick as they flexed. The boy stared, backing up slowly, calling again for his mother, his voice starting to plead. The hand flexed, actually sinking into the wall as the stain spread and a nightmare peeped around the corner. The head was thick, misshapen and lumpy, like a poorly made scarecrow, the skin thin and jelly-like. Two hard, glistening eyes, the color of maggots, stared from above the thin, wide slash of a mouth. Their eyes locked, and the boy felt fear wash from his head down to his feet, his stomach boiling like a forgotten kettle. His nerves screamed to run away, but he couldn't make himself stop watching those eyes, feet moving slowly backwards like a sleepwalker. The hand and face shifted a bit, and there was a wet, heavy dragging noise as his mother was pulled into view. She was dead, or at least close to it, moved forward by the hand in her chest, like a sock puppet, bits of her black and pulpy, smears of that black stain eating in her face, her neck, her arms. Her chest was a black, jelly-coated hole. The thing's other hand buried it up to the wrist, the bloodless, ruined remains of his mother hanging from it like a rag doll. He screamed and then threw up, little more than a mass of bile and half-digested snacks, then ran shrieking upstairs, begging for his mother, his father, anyone, someone. He slammed into the bathroom, shutting and locking the door, shaking and crying. His dad had gone down the street to visit. He'd be home any second, and he'd fix this, somehow. He'd call the cops or something. Get them out of the house. Leave that black thing far behind. Maybe Mom was just hurt. People could get really hurt and still be fine. He'd only seen her for a few seconds. That thing was just some psycho in some costume. He'd probably run off as soon as he'd heard someone coming, and it'd be okay then. It'd be fine. He kept whispering this to himself, feet braced on the sink, back against the door. He was still repeating this when the face pushed through the wood above him. He heard the crackle, and he looked up to see that hell face looking down, inches above his head. The floor under his feet suddenly felt sludgy and soft as he stared, the mouth splitting open to let a tongue as rotten and bloated as a dead fish roll free, and down, sliding down into that horrified face like a syrup, burning even as he felt his legs sinking down and down, unable to even move really as that soft, slimy flesh burned like an acid into his face. feeling his nose cook down like an overused eraser, screaming just long enough to catch a few feet of that endless tongue in his mouth, gagging hard before the nerves died, starting to pass out as he felt the nightmare tasting his eyes. Aw, no one's getting scared at this story. I'm sad. I thought I was reading it quite well. Sad. Drac awoke, feeling like he'd been sleeping on a pile of rusty car parts. He sat up, twisting and trying to locate the source of the throbbing pain in his leg. That memory started to flood back, hitting like a freight train running across town, slamming through the crowd, seeing the withered, crumpling arm laying on the ground, screams, people running, that horrible black face sliding from the ground, eyes locked onto his, Parks firing, more screams, a withered hand reaching, gripping, pulling. Oh God, no! He looked around in welling horror, pleading with his own brain to lie to him. The room was dark, dirty, and low-ceilinged. Tufts of dirt and debris in the corners, the grayish paint peeling in ragged streamers. The stained ceiling and floor warped and lumpy. The doorway opened into the darkness, a vague, insistent noise sounding from far off. The light was dim, but it didn't seem to come from anywhere, seeming just a weak, omnipresent glow with a slightly green cast. Like deep ocean water. Drac knew this room, even though he'd never been here. At least, one's very much like it. The old man liked to dump his new catches here before he found them. Drac rose quickly, hunching down to avoid a sagging bulge of ceiling. He barely wanted his shoes touching this place, let alone anything else. He winced, feeling a dull, empty ache in his leg, half in the calf, probably where it grabbed him, and damned if he was going to check it. He limped a few steps, making sure he could bear weight, eyes sweeping over every surface. He breathed slow, deeply, remembering the file, the brief. Time was subjective. He could have been out for seconds or weeks. It liked to play cat and mouse, tracking through its home, or playroom, or whatever the fuck it was. Space was endless, but sometimes people got out, or were released. Keep moving. Don't hide, because it is God here and would know. He felt panic slithering around the edges of his brain, pushed it down, hard, face set and grim as he stepped out into the darkness beyond the doorway. The hall was long and broken, like a hospital hallway after an earthquake. No big holes, just twisted and tilted oddly. He creeped down, as close to the wall as he could get without touching it, feeling gritty plaster crunch under his feet. The noise was louder, the sound of high-pitched, monotonous crying. It set the teeth on edge, and they'd said it would be like this. The key was to keep moving, keep looking. Yes, it was endless, but if you kept on moving, it seemed like 106 got confused, or lost track of things, and you could accidentally wander back into the world. He kept repeating the steps, the briefing in his head like a prayer, ignoring the part where 106 would typically hunt escapees forever. He took a right at the end of the hall, passing down another, then left, starting to move faster, ignoring the odd, corroded twist of pipes and wire in some of the rooms he passed, or the suggestive, soggy mounds of something. The crying kept getting louder, the high-pitched, gurgling wail of a baby. Ignore it. Keep moving. It called the shots. It could make the whole place sound like a dentist drill if it wanted. Drac pounded down a hall, nearly at a dead run, trying not to see the growing dampness of the walls, the changing texture of things, broken plaster over old greenish bricks, floor going from broken vinyl to concrete to dirt. He turned a corner too fast, a gooey patch of black causing his foot to skitter, nearly dropping him on his knees as he clutched the bare, wet brick wall. He looked out in the dim, mossy room, the sound of helpless, angry crying very, very loud now. He froze, staring, half-crouched and clutching the wall. It was standing in the middle of the room, a thick, ankle-deep puddle of black jelly at its feet. The old man was turning slowly, rocking in slow, side-to-side motions. The crying was coming from the thing in his arms. It was a torso, wrapped in masses of what looked like barbed wire, the wire threaded in and out of flesh, some places looking like bleeding skin had flowed like warm taffy over it. The ragged remains of the limbs twisted and stretched, every movement making the wires dig and tear more. It was hairless, the skin of its bare head and neck looking peeled and rotten, the face a mask of pain. The throat had been opened carefully, twisted and held with wires. The baby crying was in fact this grown, mute torso, mutilated to make that pitiful, helpless wail. The old man was watching him, face turned, eyes locked to the man, as he slowly tried to stand upright, ignoring the hissing of his boots, trying not to think of what would have to be done to the throat to make it sound like a baby in agony, or where that pitiful torso's limbs had gone. It watched him, cracked teeth slightly parted, and slowly stopped its rocking. It dropped the wire-bound bundle, arms going limp at its sides, as the mass of flesh and pain bounced off the ground, then rested face down in the mossy grime, sending up a new wave of protest between bubbly, sucking breaths. It turned to face him, arms dangling, body wrapped in what looked like some kind of shredded cloth of oozing black fabric. And I'll get back to the containment procedure after this. I'll reread it for you. Drac ran, bolting like a scared deer, throwing training and conditioning to the wind in the mad, blind, animal panic of escape. He screamed, panted, talked, laughed, and anything to drown out the sound of the slow, stuttering steps lurking behind him. He ran and ran and ran, falling and hitting the ground like he'd been hit by a car, gasping and waiting for the end, muscles throbbing. Then they would start again, those soft, rustling footsteps, driving him on and on and on. He didn't know it, but he'd run for 4 days before the old man started taking chunks out of him. Recovery was in the pre-dawn hours with no sun or moon, and went shockingly smooth, all things considered. SCP-106 was found in the middle of a field, making pumpkins sag and burst by squeezing or stepping on them. The team, a man, short, was finally reinforced an hour before they caught it, pushing it back to the recovery chamber with a big halogen sun guns, nearly blinding two of the recovery crew in their zeal to have the old man back under lock and key. It sat in the cell without a moment's attempt to try and escape. It sat and did nothing, head tilted, arms and legs limp. One MTF member stated that it looked satiated and was told to shut up in an official capacity. Disappearances were glossed over, murders quieted and made unnewsworthy, urban legends seemed and caressed. Overall, it went well once the hell was over. Weeks later, an observation tech made a note in that day's log. SCP-106 was observed to suddenly produce a large handful of small white objects, later identified as teeth and finger bones, and set the pile on the floor. It then sorted these objects into what seemed random piles, later identified as separated by age of victim. It then stared at these items for several hours, then recollected them. The significance of this was considered unworthy of contemplation. Holy hell. Note to self, no longer going out on Halloween. That was just a side note in the file. I hadn't actually finished the file. That was a note in the file. We were in the notes for behavior. But it did explain exactly what it does. Everything else here is just explaining it in less pretty terms. So that's how they caught him. There you go. Holy balls. It turns you into a pudding cup. Indeed it does. And it takes your teeth, apparently. I don't know why it would want teeth, but it apparently wants teeth. It cannot have my cat teeth. I like my cat teeth just fine. They're sharp and pointy, and they hide my tongue. La. That was something. That was definitely something. Oh my god. Now that's an SCP. There's a reason he's so popular. I guess that's why everyone says he's so radical. Indeed, never touch the cat teeth. They are very much precious, and I need them. I need them in my mouth so I can chew things. I like to chew on things, yes I do. Like fish. Okay. Let us see. Double checking something here. Let's go ahead and go back to the logo screen. I have 2 more SCP left, but it's getting quite late. So what we're going to do is continue them for later, because the 2 SCP files that are here were suggested by 2 people that were here earlier in the night and are no longer here. One being SCP-049, designated by Brian J., and SCP-939, designated by Sean, the Human Monster. Since they were the ones that requested these SCPs, and they did show up earlier in the night, I will be reading them off in the next video that we do for this, which will be not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Go ahead and get your suggestions in. We still have 6 slots open, so go ahead and get your suggestions in for next week by posting them in the Discord or by posting them on Twitter. Yay team. Go cat go. But we're going to go ahead and call it a night for the night because we started incredibly late. We will be starting at an earlier hour next time that we do this. It'll be 9:30 sharp. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday after. This next Saturday will be another horror game. So have yourself some spooky good times with Zombie. I guess I've got to let him out of the bathroom because Zombie wants to have access to the bathroom. Past that, tomorrow is Sunday, so it is a day off. There will probably be a video going up, though, being posted about the recovery that Zombies has managed to make with Pokemon Home, and an update to all of the current errors that have been going around. I wanted to thank you all, though, for coming out. It has been a wonderful night. Again, thanks also goes to you, Chaos Demonic Soul Reaper, for renewing your membership, and to everyone here who is a member, thank you very much for your patronage and your loyalty and your loves to the Zombies. It is much appreciated, it helps a ton, and it makes for a fun time. There is going to be a membership perk coming soon. Also, by the way, something I meant to mention earlier in the stream, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. To any and all people in the membership tiers of the $5 range or higher will be getting a chance for more SCP content, or the ability basically to pick SCPs. I will be allowing people to pick SCPs throughout the course of the month that are members, because of the fact that Saturdays are the one day that I can't hit your member buttons. Whenever I'm around, I don't have access to them because I'm in, well, this office, and it just doesn't have access to such things. So, because of that, I'm going to allow you guys to help pick out my SCPs. You'll be the ones that'll get first pick and first draft. So we'll have the member vote, and then we'll have the non-member vote. So both will get a shot, but the member votes will be the ones that take precedence over everything else. I will be setting those up with polls that will be coming in the next few days. Do be looking out for them. They will be going yet again onto Twitter and onto Discord. I hopefully will see you all again very soon. Thank you all for chilling with me. I have been Ashford, your lovely cat host of the night. And this has been more SCPs. I hope you all have a wonderful night, pleasant nightmares, and try not to die out there. These things are dangerous. I read these files so you know what to look out for. Don't let them kill you. You can request them, but remember the ones you request may be nightmares you don't want to know about. So please, for the love of God, don't die. But yeah, that'll be it. This is Ashford signing off. Have a wonderful night and pleasant nightmares.